Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about a single tiny change to a website that can answer what I like to call a $50,000 question for your business. It's all about one specific moment, usually late at night, where a massive opportunity is either won or completely lost.
I want you to picture this. It's 11 p.m., someone is on your website, ready to make a huge decision. We're talking a high-ticket item, maybe a $25,000 dental procedure. They are motivated, they have the means, but then something stops them. They see your standard book-free consultation button, and poof, they're gone, vanished.
So what on earth just happened? This is what we're calling the Midnight Visitor Mystery. It's the story of why your most valuable, high-intent customers are disappearing right when they're on the verge of making a decision.
Let's just ask the question directly. Why does this happen over and over again? I can tell you it's probably not your marketing, and it's not your reputation. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of what that person is feeling in that exact moment. See, they're looking for an answer, not another sales meeting.
This slide really gets to the heart of it all. On the left, you've got the old way, book-free consultation. It feels vague, right? It feels like a trap. On the right, you have the new way, calculate your implant cost. It's direct, it's empowering, and it gives the customer control. One asks for their time, the other gives them an answer, instantly.
And if you need proof, just look at the data. The numbers don't lie. That old-school free consultation button, you're lucky if that converts at 2 or 3%. But look at the interactive calculator. We're seeing conversion rates of 10, 12, even 15%. That's a 300 to 500% improvement. It's just staggering.
Okay, so we've seen what works. Now let's get into the really interesting part, why it works. These numbers aren't just random. They're driven by some really deep-seated human psychology. And it turns out the word free, well, it isn't always your friend.
Think about it. When a potential customer sees free consultation, their defenses immediately go up. First, there's the sales pressure anxiety. You know that feeling, right? The fear of getting cornered in an office. Then comes the time commitment fear, the thought of blocking out a whole afternoon just for a sales pitch. And the biggest one of all, unknown cost terror. This giant, scary question mark about how much this is actually going to cost.
An interactive calculator, on the other hand, it's an invitation. And get this, the data shows that customers who spend between 5 and 8 minutes using a calculator are 3 times more likely to convert. We call this the 8-minute magic window, because in that short time, a huge psychological shift is happening.
This is where the magic really happens. In those 8 minutes, a visitor goes from being a skeptic to a believer. With every click, they're making tiny micro-commitments, getting more invested, they're educating themselves, which reduces their fear, they see you're being transparent, which builds trust, and by the end, they feel in control, which just dissolves their anxiety.
And all of this brings us to the solution, which we're calling the calculator revolution. This is so much more than just sticking a new button on your website. It's about completely changing the conversation you have with customers before they ever even talk to you.
Yeah, seriously, forget about thinking of this as just another contact form. An interactive calculator is a behavioral intelligence goldmine. It doesn't just tell you who is interested, it tells you how they're interested and what they actually care about.
I mean, just look at the kind of data you can get. Real financial signals, like what down payment they're comfortable with. Urgency indicators, like if they want to get started ASAP. And their specific preferences, which packages they're looking at, which add-ons caught their eye. This is the stuff that actually tells you who's ready to buy.
All right, I know this all sounds great, but let's get down to brass tacks. Let's talk about what really matters, the return on investment, the money. Because when you run the numbers, the comparison is pretty jaw-dropping.
Let's walk through this. Let's say you get 1,000 visitors a month. The traditional site might get you 30 leads, and you close 3 of them. That's about $45,000 in revenue. Okay, not bad. But now look at the site with the calculator. It generates 120 pre-qualified leads, which leads to 21 accepted treatments, for a grand total of $315,000 in monthly revenue. The difference is just night and day.
Yeah, you saw that right. That is a 600% increase in monthly revenue. And let me just stress this again. This is from the exact same number of visitors and the exact same marketing budget. You're not spending a dime more, you're just converting the traffic you already have.
And look what it does to your efficiency. Your cost to acquire a brand new customer absolutely plummets. It goes from over $1,600 all the way down to just $238. Suddenly, every single marketing dollar you spend is working 7 times harder for you. It's a game changer.
Now, I know what some of you might be thinking.
There are always objections, always a little bit of skepticism when a new idea comes along. So let's just tackle the most common ones head on, right now.
This is always the first one, the biggest fear. If I put my prices out there, my competitors are going to see them and use them against me. And you know what? It's a valid concern.
But here's the reality of it. The trust you gain from your potential customers by being transparent is infinitely more valuable than any little bit of information your competitor might find. You get to control the conversation around your value. And in today's market, transparency always wins.
Okay, here's the second big one, sticker shock. The worry that if you show someone a big number on a screen, they're just going to click away and never come back. But the truth is, anyone who was going to be scared away by the price was never actually going to buy from you anyway. What this process does is qualify the serious buyers, and more importantly, it immediately reframes a big, scary cost like $30,000 into something that feels approachable, like $429 a month, by showing financing options right there. It's not sticker shock, it's price clarification. So, where does all this lead? Well, it leads to a future where this kind of transparency isn't just a cool advantage, it's the bare minimum that customers are going to expect. And the good news is, there's a clear, simple path to get there. And getting started isn't some huge, complicated project. It can be broken down into a simple 90-day roadmap. The first month is all about building the foundation and doing a soft launch. The second month is for optimizing and scaling up. And by the third month, you're expanding and measuring that incredible ROI. So we'll just end with this final thought. This really isn't a question of if you should adopt this kind of transparency anymore. The real question is, how quickly can you make this change before your customers and your competitors start leaving you behind?